you go to a store, want to buy shoes, and obviously exactly the size you want to have, it's not there. Or you go to a clothes store and you want to buy a jacket, and the size you want is there, yes, but not the color. How can that happen? Can't they plan right? It's a really hard thing to do. And guess what? AI comes in and helps you plan your inventory and to have the right sizes at the right time. Yeah. So we go into details today with Michaela Wessels. She is the CEO and co-founder of Style Arcade and tells us about how e-commerce optimization with AI works. Welcome to the Beginner's Guide to AI. It's Dietmar again from Argo Berlin at the microphone, and let's just start with the episode. So, before I talk too much about Michaela, let's give her the microphone and ask her what got her into AI. But first, welcome to the podcast, Michaela.
Thank you, Dietmar. So great to be here and talking about all things AI, a topic that you either love or hate, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's a good question. Are there what do you think? Are more people out there loving AI or hating it, or don't know
No,
about?
I think it's still split. I'm sure it will change quite quickly, but yeah, there's definitely a fear. I don't know if I've ever mentioned to you, but I feel as if there's a fear of AI, and I feel it too in some instances. So yeah, it's new. It's
Yeah,
new. That's the key.
that's a great thing. The fear of new things. This is always a thing that is problematic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Humans do not like change. We don't like change.
Yes, that's the thing. But that actually will definitely lead to what did bring you into AI.
Well, my career actually was in retail, which is very far, as you know, probably from AI. But my background was in merchandise buying and planning. So I worked for large retailers, helping them understand how much to spend or invest in inventory, being their biggest asset. And then through, just realizing that there weren't enough systems to support this activity, how much to buy is an unsolved
Mhm.
problem, would you believe? We're still, even the biggest brands, calculating on spreadsheets. So I decided to start Style Arcade 6 years ago and solve this problem. So it's a AI and analytics platform for fashion brands and retailers, and we help them know exactly how much to order of every product for every store in every size. And we incorporate AI to help them do that.
That is really like, I mean, we all read the stories about, I don't know, H&M having billions of stuff in stock that they didn't sell. And yeah, this is really, so is this, I would say it's the single biggest problem in the industry, or?
It's pretty big, Didma. It's right up there with the top three, I would say. There's this pendulum swing from overbuying to underbuying, and you have unhappy customers when really it's a mathematical problem that can really be solved a lot with technology. And you still have that human influence of trend, but ultimately we can get the numbers accurate, finally.
Oh, that's quite a big step. I mean, if you talk about costs and if you know what to produce, or I mean, you can either, yeah, what you said, the pendulum, you overbuy or underbuy, and if you can figure out how that works. I mean, you do that for fashion, and fashion, it's a huge area, but in general, I think it's for basically every shop out there.
It is, Dietmar. Yeah, I mean, it's all run on the numbers, or it should be at least. The majority of what we do and what we buy should be run on the numbers. So yes, it extends beyond fashion to beauty, to homewares, to fast-moving consumer goods. We're buying something every day. So yes, we need to know exactly how much to order of that, or we're pendulum swinging, as you say.
Yeah, and fashion is like the industry for, I mean, this is kind of, I know there's a lot of stuff happening, but fashion is so counterintuitive. I think, Michaela, if you go for like Amazon, typical thing, you expect data, but fashion, how are the
Yeah,
people
you don't
reacting?
expect data. And you know what's funny, Dietmar, when we first began 6 years ago, fashion brands, huge ones, would say to us, we do this on gut feel. And we're like, gut feel? I mean, this is crazy. Ordering, the number of sizes per style to order, it needs to be based on your customer base. What are the trends? What does your history tell you? What is the data coming of the new stores that you're opening up? You need to bring this all together to give you some idea rather than, finger to the wind.
I
Crazy.
always ask myself, I go there and then there's like shoes, huh? Or as an example, there's not so many sizes of a shoe that is possible, but still too many. And it's mostly the usual ones are not there or something. And yeah, if you know the customer base.
Well, Dietmar, if you're not in fashion, it's interesting. It's this, of course, the human race is a bell curve, of sizes in between. But the number one shopper complaint globally is I cannot find my size. And that is because we're not using AI and algorithms to drive these purchasing quantities. But yeah, that is changing, luckily.
So it's interesting because you talk about the bell curve. Is it harder to figure out the middle of the bell curve or the end?
It's
Or
safer to
you think,
stay in the middle, right?
yeah.
But what is I don't know if it's intuitive or unintuitive. Say Dietmar starts a fashion brand. He's making, brown jumpers, and there are a lot of customers coming to him. When you first place your first order and you have to buy maybe 1,000 units of this jumper, is your instinct, and this is just a personal question to you, is your instinct to look at the size ratio of extra small to extra large and buy maybe 120 in each? Or is your instinct to make a bell curve? What is the first thing you would do?
As I'm an economist, I would always go via the data and the bell curve, but I think most of the people would say, okay, we take 120 of each.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. They just spread the bets along every size, that's not the reality of how it's going to play out. It's going to be a bell curve, but then that shape is very different for every single retailer. So that's what we help them figure out. The shape of your bell curve is very different.
So basically, the start is even before AI. It's thinking about more about data, basically.
Yeah, exactly. More about how you use the data you have, because there's all this information about your customers that you're not kind of bringing together to plan your inventory. That's the key. Customer data, product data, and you mesh those together, and you really do have a good amount of data to be able to predict what's happening in your stores. Yeah.
So do you do that for online retailers or also offline?
So it's omni-channel, as they call it. They love to say we're omni-channel, all channels, wholesale, retail, e-commerce, any platform you sell on. So yes, we do it for all platforms. Because, Dietmar, if you think about it, any AI product, the more data you have, the better, the more information.
Makes totally sense, yeah. And it's all about data quality. And if you think about, I mean, if you not think about a mom and pop store, but something like with few shops up to hundreds of shops, if you put all the data together, then you really can make a picture of that. And actually, probably also like locations are like different.
Very specific, yeah. Do you know what blew my mind in the early days was a particular dress? Say it's an identical dress, just one is in black and one is in white. The size ratios for the same store were different, completely different. Yes. So there was more popular and smaller sizes of the white dress and more popular and larger sizes of the black dress. But then you take these patterns further and further up on big store networks, and you understand that there's a lot we can actually predict with good amounts of data.
How do you do that actually? I mean, do you, I mean, you can have somebody manually putting all stuff in, but I guess that's not the AI way. But this black and white example, how would that
Yeah.
work? How would that come out?
Well, I actually loved it. You first said it. It's the data quality, right? So if we have people inputting data, we have data quality issues. So where did we begin as a business? Data cleansing. So that's the first stop. And what you want to cleanse is as simple as, you want to attribute the product. You do know what price it is, where it's selling. You do know how much it's selling and what its stock levels are in which sizes. But you also want to know what color is it, what category. So is it a dress and it's a mini dress? What fabric type? This also matters, because if you get all of this data, then you can actually do better predictions on it. So what we did was use visual AI to input an image of every product and then tell us, is it, long sleeve dress in white, crew neck, mini length, give us all of these attributes. So now that you have complete enriched data, you have better information with which to work on.
Wow. So it's no people sitting there anymore, but image recognition. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, but I think Ditmar, it can only go so far. It's for every product you send it, say, 7 images, and it will understand a lot of the attributes, but it's not going to get it perfect. Sometimes it will think satin is a velvet, or it might get the fabric incorrect. And that's where humans step in and just adjust it. But for the most part, to have complete data is amazing.
there's a thing that in my mind, the little devil says, and is AI better than the humans? I assume it's not the best job to have to categorize stuff like hundreds of, yeah. So it's like,
Oh,
this is really like a hard job. But so they are probably the data categorizer if they're human. They're also not the best. So is the AI better in the results than the humans?
yes, Ditmar, much better. Unfortunately, maybe we should put it this way. AI is better than humans at monotonous tasks. Humans, this is not what we should be doing and spending our lives on. We should be strategic, we should be macro thinking. So if it's a monotonous task of data entry, for sure, the machine is always going to be better.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, monotonous. And there's always monotonous. Monotonely means always errors. Like, yeah, makes sense. And yeah. Um, so fashion as an industry seems to be ideal. Because I mean I have like there's trousers. Trousers are basically there's not so much you can do with trousers. They can be longer, shorter. It gets complicated if you go to other industries. Do you have any experience? I mean, it's not your industries basically is fashion, but if I sell tools or machines or so, can you imagine that also would work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dietmar, if you think about it, like you say, trousers, you've got how many attributes on a pair of trousers? You think they're all the same and you can just predict them, but you have length, shape, cut, waistband length, inseam, all of those things to predict. But power tools are the same thing. And the interesting thing is you have to use visual image recognition even for power tools because packaging matters. You're in the middle of a warehouse full of all sorts of gardening tools, power tools. Which one are you choosing of the 9 different drills? You're choosing one that appeals to you visually. Or maybe it's got if they've all got the same attributes of how powerfully they work, etc. Which one are you choosing? Then you're choosing just on the visual aspect of the box and think, oh, that looks great. Or that's a brand I know. So the visual AI is very important for retail in general.
And Michaela had just a big fashion fail by saying, okay, this is just a trouser. And then it's all those different attributes in there. So yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's one underestimates it if one is not really thinking carefully about that. Yeah. So I think there's so much variation already. And if you also a matter of data, the more you know about fashion, and that is probably a thing where Stylocate is you build your own AI on this or your visual recognition AI. It's not an out of the box thing, or
Well, we use some out of the box things and then we use some developed by ourselves because it's very bespoke to merchandise planning expertise. But I think, Ditmar, if there is a provider who has done something really well, like ChatGPT, why would we go and reinvent ChatGPT versus integrate it into our platform and use it in intelligent ways? So that's the approach we've taken. If there's something that doesn't exist and we really need it, we'll develop it. But mostly, if we can find a provider who's best in class, then we're partnering with that. Yeah.
yeah, that's really interesting. I heard a lot of my famous now my podcasters, and they're like, yeah, you could program everything yourself and you can make specialized tools and whatever, but if you can use the ones that are there that are already good, yeah, it's like uh, someone said the amount of time that goes in there from, let's say, OpenAI for ChatGPT, you can't reproduce that. They have the best people there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? With any system like that, where you're building on a base of partnering with an AI provider who's done a lot of groundwork, you're just adding layers on top that really complete what you need to do, the job that you're trying to do with that AI.
Yeah.
So I think it's really smart not to reinvent the wheel each time.
Yeah. The thing is, do you have a case you can I mean, I have a, let's say, a fashion brand, or but I, if I can't really imagine how it works, do you have a case you can present where someone comes to you, and how does it work actually?
So if you think about a fashion buyer at a brand, and sometimes they buy hundreds of different brands. They could be buying Nike, Adidas, Converse, and they are buying a new pair of shoes, for example. What they would do is traditionally in their spreadsheets, they would go and quantify what a similar shoe may have sold in the past and say, well, if, oh, look at that. There's a big thunderstorm here. So the
Oh,
lights and everything are, yeah.
so for
And
the
and
people who
also
who don't watch the podcast but listen, the light at
the
Michaela's, I
lights went
just
out.
in Australia just turned off, and
Yeah, so sorry, I was saying, a buyer, can you hear it? The
yeah,
thunder?
there was something. Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
exciting. Yeah, look at that. Anyway, so a buyer buying a new pair of shoes that has never been bought before, she'll look at similar products and say, right, well, this is um, how they performed in these different stores by these different sizes. But that's all manual calculations in Excel. When you can actually take the image of that new shoe, pop it into Style Arcade. It searches across all of your history. This is talking 10 years worth of information across all the attributes of this shoe. The, say, like it's a low heel, it's a, I don't know, black patent leather, all of the attributes of those shoe get taken together and where it's sold. And then it recommends how a future purchase order might look and suggests a quantification for that for every store, for every size. Sounds pretty simple, right? You're just getting a suggestion. You can take it or leave it, but usually it's a lot more accurate than you could do 10 years worth of analysis yourself.
Wow. Yeah. It's does it, I mean, it's just putting stuff in and stuff comes out. It's really easy. It's
Dietmar, but this is what AI should be. It should be very easy, you know. It should be fun and easy, both of
yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we are at fashion, this is probably the most of the people working in fashion industry. They don't want to do the ordering. They want to concentrate on like creating a brand, or like fashion is the perfect example, I think, where the routine tasks and the background tasks gets to AI does it, and yeah, we work on the stuff that's really interesting.
Totally. The strategic things. Absolutely. That's the dream.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. No, I had a friend who had an economic background but was fashion designer and coached many people in the fashion industry. They were never good at the economic parts. They wanted to create fashion, and yeah, this is
Yeah, keep people doing what they're brilliant at, you know, and then automate the rest. It's interesting, Dietmar, I've seen even the Style Arcade team automating so much of their jobs this year that I feel as if, you know, people say it's the future of the world to have a 4-day work week. It might be. It really might be with the amount that we're able to automate today.
and is I mean, this is an interesting question about job security and something. If I
Yeah.
work a little less, it's one thing. The other thing, do you realize that you need less workers, or do you need different workers?
I actually think for the most part, it's usually different. I think we need to encourage teams that are adopting AI to start to think how we reimagine the work that we're doing, how we're getting way better at what we're doing, how we're getting more strategic. So I think there's a big opportunity to shift from fearing at taking jobs to move to what is the opportunity here and how do we reinvent what humans do on a day-to-day basis, because it could be a whole lot more fun and rewarding than it has been in the past when all of the mundane is taken care of. Um, but yeah, it will be a big shift. It'll be a big shift.
Yeah. So, as I mean, do the big ones? I mean, this is an interesting question. Does Amazon? I'm surprised how bad Amazon is sometimes with recommendations. Do they use such systems already, or do they try to? Are they behind? Do you have any insight? I don't know. That's a really special question, but I have the
Yeah.
feeling they are not as far as they could be.
It's very interesting, Didma, because I think a lot of these big corporations, right, their philosophy has always been we are a technology company. So anything we need technology wise, we will build it ourselves. But in all reality, people who have spent decades specializing in particular software is going to do a far better job than always reinventing the wheel, always building yourself. So I'm not a fan of that. And I agree with you about the Amazon algorithm. It's not working for me either. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think they have to catch up on AI, but they do. With their
They will.
Anthropic partnership. But that brings me to a question: the AI you use, it's image recognition, but it's also like there's obviously some in the statistics department. What is it? What's one AI? Is it not a ChatGPT AI or an LLM or what is behind it?
Well, hopefully soon we'll actually integrate something like ChatGPT where you could say, please show me all of my top sellers from last season and recommend new purchase quantities for similar items of my bestsellers. But today, you're right, it's visual image recognition, helps you attribute. It does make recommendations on buy quantities. And also we looked, Dietmar, when you say it's the data and the numbers behind the performance of the product, we look at stock sellouts, for example, and predicting, because every style, every launch of new product will have a spike in performance, and then it'll have a taper down as it sells out of sizes, as it moves to the back of the store, or further down online. So it has this curve, and for every retailer, every product, that curve is different. So we try and predict stock outs and when they happen, and if a particular size has had a stock out, how quickly does that shoot the curve downwards versus other sizes. So we look a lot at size performance and stock outs to predict a sell down.
And this is kind of a prediction AI you have working there.
Yeah, basically. What's cool about it is that you can look at all of the history and test its accuracy, because you can take a product that has already existed, give the algorithm 4 weeks worth of data, even if the product had sold out on week 8, and ask it to predict how it sells down. And the closer and closer, so you can really test the accuracy, because these are all products who have already existed. So you can actually see how good the algorithm is working.
I love that, because as an economist, the problem is I can predict how the economy will develop, but I can't test. It's like I can't go back and tell. Yeah, we can do the same with the data and this is this building, but you can kind of do more there. No, it's not accurate, my comparison, but yeah, anyway. But no, this is great, because you can the model can get better the more data you have, the more you use it. So basically, people out there start using data, start using predictive AI for that. This is like a really good thing. And that is actually, Michaela, coming to one thing. How do you personally use AI in work, in your life? What do you do with AI?
With AI. Well, I think, Dietmar, we're using AI without realizing. I think, and so you can say, oh, well, I use ChatGPT and I love it for this, that, and the other. Personally, cooking recipes are one of the best things I find on there, but I use it for almost everything. And I would say that there is a lot of AI that I'm using that I wouldn't realize. Yeah, we use it to analyze our sales calls. We use it to automate things for us. It's just, I mean, the possibilities seem endless, but you've really got to invest in approaching it and looking for things to help you.
Yeah, testing things, experimenting, and realize. And is it? I mean, you are like an AI first company, more or less. How's the mindset of the people? Do you think they love AI, or they are forced to use it? Or just how's it with the employees?
They love it, Dietmar. It just makes them faster at what they do, particularly the software engineers. I mean, they're using it daily. So, yeah, I just think it makes us better at what we do. And I would love to get the company to a 4-day work week if this is possible. Can we not just change the way the world works with AI? Yeah.
And there's enough studies that you're not less productive with 4-day work week. You focus more, and then if you have some assist in the background doing your stoic and whatever work, that would be like, that's a good, yeah, that's great. I would love it. I'm definitely on board. So yeah, that's the thing.
And I'm sure in future, the word AI, we might not even use it anymore. It's almost like it's everything. It's everywhere. There's no like AI and non-AI anymore. It's just, yeah, just is.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. This is the thing. AI, or Apple with the Apple intelligence, they call it now. And it's like, it goes to the background, you don't realize it anymore. But so imagine I am a style brand, I have some fashion business, and I want to get help. How do I do it? I come to you and you check how big is my inventory, how are my numbers, how do we start then?
So for a brand, usually if you're turning over about 5 million or more, I mean, we work with brands turning over into the billions, but anything from $5 million, you have enough data to start to work with. So integrate all of your systems, bring in all of your e-commerce data, your bricks and mortar data, your wholesale information, and then enrich that, cleanse it, and then start to make recommendations on where the opportunities are. And I think, Dietmar, for me, working in this industry, one of the biggest things I noticed was there's just such an opportunity for most brands don't realize they could be doing so much more revenue through more accurate purchasing. Just that one simple thing, buying the right sizes and the right products, it's huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a thing if I come, I heard many people saying the problem is the data is not compatible, the data is in silos. Is it, I mean, if I have probably a Shopify or so, that's probably easy. I can just plug it in or so. But is this process of onboarding and of making all the data available, is this the biggest challenge you have?
Yes, for sure. That was, I mean, you're integrating with any system that has product data, and then you're improving and enhancing that data and then working with it. So for sure, connecting, but it's becoming easier and easier over time, you know? I think, like you say, Shopify is very standardized. It's great to work with. So our job has become easier over time too.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it's also the thing is learning curve. I mean, there's a number of systems out there, and if you know all of them, worked with all of them, yeah, it makes sense. Then, yeah, it
Yeah.
gets easier. Oh, yeah,
I
that's
think in the
great.
first few years of the business, we were pulling our hair out thinking, how are we ever going to get this data cleansed? This is unworkable. But, you know, you find different ways to do it. You get really smart. Yeah.
Then, um, the thing is, the better the machines or you get with the machines, that is a good segue into my last question here. As I always am interested, what do you think with the Terminator or Matrix scenario? Is this any possible? I mean, it's fashion, and maybe we have I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger then in Terminator, that was like, he
Yeah.
was like, with his motor, what's it called, motor boots. There's this chopper boots, and so he was a fashion icon. But and he says of himself, he's a major shoe queen. He's something like he loves shoes. But it's hard to imagine then Terminator taking over. But do you think how is it with AI? Is it dangerous? Is it in any way problematic?
Dietmar, I think anything humans make can be dangerous or very helpful. You know, it's a human quality of whatever we produce. We can make it deadly or great. So I think it could go either way, but for the most part, I don't think I have enough data to give you a definitive answer on that prediction.
But that is a good answer. Not enough data, yeah. But I remember that when we talked about it first time, you said you are general an optimist on those things.
Oh, totally. But I mean, that's just your predisposition. What do you think? Is it taking over?
I'm just interviewing people here. But no, on good days I'm like no chance. On bad days I'm like yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little bit dangerous. No, but in general I think it's no problem. And as we talk about things, it's what do people use it for? Planning inventory, like in your case, and then it doesn't have to do anything with dangers. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things. Almost like if you ever do a job where you think, oh, this is boring, and I wish this was automated, it probably already is automated. So you just have to look outside and find the solution.
oh yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
That it's like a freeing feeling as opposed to something to fear.
Definitely, yeah. It's like just go and look around. If it's not there, you have to create it yourself. But probably it's like I did not know about this whole fashion area where you can get so much more out of your stock, out of your data with just using AI. Yeah, so
And if you
that's
believe next time you go in store, you're going to find the right size. Even better.
it might be, yes, yeah. Yeah, but I think the most important thing now is where can we find you, Michaela? Where can we find Style Arcade? Where can we connect to you?
So stylearcade.com. is our website. And I'm on LinkedIn, very active on LinkedIn, Michaela Wessels, Wessels. I think it's a Dutch surname and a German first name. So it gets all types of confusing.
This definitely. I had a friend. She was called Wessels with second name. I think it's Dutch. It might be. Yeah. So it's. But anyway, so people, you don't have to remember that. I will put everything in the show notes, so you can just click there, and it's really great to see what one can do. This is like this thing, standing in front of the whole AI, and then what can I do? And then it's like something, yeah, you have stock data from what you have in stock, you can do something. So Michaela, it was really great to give us an insight in the fashion industry this time, and
you
to
so
have
much.
you as you are the second woman on the podcast. I don't have enough women that work in AI that want to go to the podcast, so I use this as a shout out of all the great women working in AI. Go out there, talk about what you want in my podcast, somewhere else. They need to be role models, I think.
Oh, totally. And if it doesn't exist, build it. Just a good attitude to have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, Michaela, thanks for the great interview. I learned a lot, and
Thank you, Dietmar. Such a pleasure to chat. Yeah.
thank you, and have a great evening there in Australia while I'm in the morning in Berlin.
You're just starting your day. You
Yeah.
need your second coffee, and I'm almost
Yeah.
on bedtime. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's great. So thank you for the great interview, and yeah, everything else will be in the show notes, people, and yeah, connect to Michaela and see what she can do for you.
Amazing. Thanks, Dietmar. Chat to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
What really strikes me is this thing that you have to have a mindset for AI. You have to like think about data, and this is what I took away from the interview with Michaela, that yes, if you just are in style or in your products, let's say in general, you will have a problem. But the time is really right because people think about AI. They might not think about their data, but that is really now the time, and the products are there. So check out Style Arcade if you're from the fashion area, or think about how you can optimize your e-commerce. Really a thing. And actually, another thing Michaela said to me after the interview, that the people come to her and they ask, do you have AI in your product? And she says, yes. And then they check the box. They don't want to know the details. They just want to know it's AI. And that means people are at that moment not thinking about data or AI. They just want to have it because it's the shiny new toy. Funny thing is, this shiny new toy is not just a toy, it really helps. So that's a great thing. If you do e-commerce, you have now the little AI helpers managing your inventory. Yeah, so another great episode. And don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter to get the episodes in your mailbox, argo.berlin.com/newsletter, and follow the podcast on your podcasting app. That's it for today, and hope to have you back in the next episode. Thank you and bye from Berlin. It's Dietmar from argo.berlin.